Sorry for a moment of a technical difficulty, but we're now going live with the Never Again Live podcast with Mayor Leah Weinstein as our host. We have an exciting show tonight, so I'm going to talk for about 3 minutes, and then I'll see you at the end of the show. So start turning on YouTube, on Twitter, on Facebook Live as we do the Never Again Live podcast. And I see we already have some people logging on, so please, as you log on, share this on Facebook, Twitter, and on YouTube with everyone you can. Mary Weinstein is our host. I'm Dr. B in our little South Texas studio. I'll be the silent partner, although as Mayor knows, I'm not often really that silent. So we have a special guest with us tonight. That's Murray Miskin, the president of Miskin Law Professional Corporation. And Murray gets our special award for being the Mensch of the Month, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. We have another special guest with us this evening. As you all may know, that keynote speaker Leah Goldstein was going to be the keynote speaker at Inspire's International Women's Day event. Inspire inclusion. Well, inclusion seemed to be exclusion for us Jews. There she is in her boxing, getting mad at the people who canceled her. And she got some international recognition and fame for being canceled. She was in Cycling Magazine, Fox News, AH Jewish Telegraph, Times of Israel, and Sports Magazine as well, because it seemed that Inspire Inclusion should have been rebranded as Inspire Exclusion, because it was included for everybody, except, of course, no Jews were allowed. But we're kind of used to that. So, without any further ado, let me tell you a little bit about our special guest. The Ottawa International Women's Day Inspiring Kids event is officially canceled. Well, there's a success story, and we thank Israel Now, Murray Miskin, and a lot of other people who stood up and didn't keep silent. So as I said, with us this evening is our special guest, Leah Goldstein, who's a kick-ass athlete, author, motivational speaker, kickboxing champion, and winner of the grueling 3,000-mile race across America bicycle race. I'm talking quick because Mayor, I can see by his face, he thinks I've talked about enough for tonight, but I'll be finished in another minute. There's Leah with the book No Limits, which you can get off Amazon or for good books are sold. As Einstein said, the world is a dangerous place, not because of those who do evil, but because of those who look on and do nothing. And at israelnow.ca, you don't look on and do nothing. So, the moment you've been waiting for. Without any further ado, the Never Again Live podcast. See you all later. Mayor?
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm going to ask everyone who's joining us, please share this show on the various platforms that you use, be it Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, WhatsApp groups, email lists. We'd appreciate it. We'll reach a lot more people. Very important issue going on right now. When I first heard about Leah Goldstein, what she was going through, being canceled from the Inspire Women's Day, International Women's Day event that was going to be held in Peterborough, I had a feeling of deja vu, because just a few years ago, there was an incident at York University in Toronto involving another Jewish woman, young Jewish woman, Lauren Isaacs. And at first, she wanted to just have a table, an information table, because she was a student at York University, and she was heading a Jewish student group on campus as well. And she had a table in the main hall and a sign that basically said, I'm Jewish, ask me anything about Israel, let's talk. There was a mob that surrounded her. People were cursing her out with vicious anti-Semitism, spitting at her. The security did nothing. She was very scared. A few months later, she wanted to organize an event at York University to bring in former IDF soldiers. There's a group from Israel. They go around the world speaking to explain what's going on. in Israel, the reality, reservists on duty, I believe they're called. So she was having advertising this event at York University, and all kinds of pro-Hamas organizations mounted a campaign and said, we're going to physically stop it from happening. So I didn't want to turn a blind eye and remain silent about what was happening to our Jewish sister, Lauren Isaacs. And I took action, and I mobilized in the security, and I made sure that we had strong security for the event, that the event would go on, and these pro-Hamas organizations were not going to have their way and shut it down. I did understand prior to that event that just a few days before her event, that in England, at another campus, pro-Hamas gangs did shut down a similar event on a campus in the UK. That didn't happen in Toronto at York University. We made sure that Lauren Isaac's program went on, and there were no problems. There was just one issue that happened. As a result of that, there was an emergency meeting called by the staff at York University, by the administrators and the president, and they ruled they're going to have to issue a letter banning myself from campus forever, for life. No one else received a letter like that, nothing. I consider it a badge of honor standing up for my Jewish brothers and sisters, and I'll continue to do that. So with the story of Leah Goldstein, I did not turn a blind eye. I immediately contacted all the sponsors of the event and sent out a basic email about what the story is and that this is anti-Semitism by targeting Leah Goldstein, and it cannot be accepted. Contacted also Murray Miskin, and he got back to me right away, and he said, the previous year we sponsored it, and they just assumed that we were going to sponsor it this year. And when I heard what was going on, I actually sent them a message saying, take our name off the list of sponsors. And he, in fact, issued a statement, a strong statement against what occurred, against the Inspire event. I'm glad that we're having Murray on the show as well. So let's first bring on Leah Goldstein. Leah, how are you?
Thank you, and thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here.
Absolutely. It's an honor to have you.
Thank you.
I can imagine, what you're going through. It must be overwhelming, but this is anti-Semitism, classic anti-Semitism.
Oh, absolutely. And it's funny that you said that about the sponsors, because with the letter they sent me, or the email they sent me first, they said that the sponsors were threatening to pull out of the event if I were to continue as the keynote speaker. That's what I was told. Yeah. I mean, mind you too, nothing was sent to me. All the emails were sent to the agency I work for, which is called Speakers Candidates, a speaking bureau. So they never contacted me directly. They were just forwarded to me from my agent.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That they were saying the sponsors were threatening to cancel,
Correct.
to pull out because of your presence there.
Yes.
Well,
they first said that there was an escalation of protests and like accusing me of their so-called genocide or whatever, that I was responsible, basically that I started this war, right?
Right.
And that they said, and they demanded that I make a statement. That was on Saturday when we got the email, right? And I go, and then my agent, kind of Christine, says, don't respond to this. Let me handle it, right? Because you didn't want to respond for me when I first got that message. I needed to come down to earth, right?
Right.
And then the next day, I mean, we didn't have a chance to take a second breath. They said, it's out of control. There's a huge escalation here. We need to remove you. And then just out of nowhere, she goes, do you have another speaker that we can replace Leah with? Just like that. Like, I'm cattle. Next. Like, it's not a big deal.
Wow.
Yeah. And then then she, responded, she sent a harsh email, back to Heather, who's the organizer. And then she just bombarded us with all these paragraphs, very anti-Semitic, of what accusing Israel of killing, women and children and all this nonsense. It's just ignorance at its finest, right? And then they said that they're also afraid for the safety of the people coming to the event, that if I come, it will make, the event very dangerous for everybody. So do I want that on me?
It's like incredible.
This just gets worse. Yeah. I mean, I should just forward you the email. It was unbelievable. I mean, this is the first time ever, and mind you too. I mean, this is not my first rodeo. I've been speaking for 11 years and I don't hide who I am. And I speak to many different platforms, and not one time in 11 years has anyone ever come up to me and said, you know what, there was something you said that I felt offended by. Not to me, not to my bureau, not anonymously, ever. And here I am being replaced. They say because I served in the IDF, but the IDF has nothing to do with it. I was replaced simply because I'm Jewish.
Absolutely. 100%. As a result of the campaign of contacting Heather Doughty and the various sponsors and Inspire, the Inspire website for the event is not functioning anymore. And Heather Doughty's website is also non-existing anymore. It's good we have supporters out there that don't hide and make themselves loud and clear and call out anti-Semitism as it is. I wish we knew right away, immediately, when the first instance of the anti-Semitism happened, but we jumped on it. I'm sure you were, I know you were just caught completely off guard. You're very busy going around speaking, organizing, everything to do with life. And all of a sudden this happens and you must have been shocked.
Well, I mean, like I said, I've never experienced anything like this I'm 55 years old, I'm not a spring chicken, right? And I've never experienced, I honestly didn't know how to handle this, right? So, I mean, I actually went to my cousin, Leah Goldstein, who's a really kind of well-known photographer. And she said, you have to get this out. This is not right. She kind of slapped me in the face, move your butt, woman. And because I wasn't sure, how do I approach this? What do I do? Because my platform is not political. I don't talk about politics or religion. There's two very sensitive topics that I keep away from, right?
Right.
But they're almost making me do it. But I thought that I was obligated to say something, because this is just not right. And I'm not an isolated incident. I mean, it's happening to other athletes, to singers, to musicians, to artists, And so what's going on? Is this going to become the norm? And it can't become the norm. But in all honesty, I am completely overwhelmed with the support that I've been getting, because I thought, a couple of Jewish, articles would be written and I get a few comments, but it has completely snowballed. I mean, my media manager said that we have I think 20 media outlets that have covered this story. I was on Fox News this morning, Fox Sports Net the other day, the National Post. I mean, it's just exploded. And, and the comments are primarily, I'm going to say 90% very supportive. I've got a couple of nasty ones, but that's of course expected. But like I said, it's very overwhelming, and I'm very touched and very blessed to have such a strong army behind me.
Absolutely. We have with us also Murray Miskin. I was, when I started trying my best to get this out there and connected with Murray, I was really relieved with his message. Murray, are you there? Come on and join us.
I'm here.
Very good.
And I got my book today too. Amazon delivered it to me.
Excellent.
I'll be a bestseller soon because of this.
I got mine also. Come on, we got to kind of keep it going. As I said earlier, what's really going to help Leah in book sales, Palestinians are ordering and burning the books. So good, more books sold, more books to print. I'll see you later. Mayor, I'll try to stay out of this, but I can't resist an occasional, comment.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
So Murray, you were the first sponsor to issue a statement against the event.
Yeah, I'm a Jewish lawyer in Peterborough, and I'm part of the Jewish community. I got all these emails and letters and calls from Jewish people calling me anti-Semitic, or being part of an anti-Semitic thing that happened. And I thought, I can't let this happen. So I had to respond. I talked to people. I found out that what they did was they listed the old sponsors from last year on the website for this year. They're in fact our new sponsors for this year. But the sponsors were never consulted about programming at all, and none of the sponsors were asked or told really who the speakers would be. They're just asked to give a check and contribute to this thing, because there are inspiring women out there, not just Leah. There's a lot of other ones. They were able to replace Leah with a hockey player, interestingly enough, one hockey player. And then she decided she didn't want to do it, so they got another women hockey player. It's very badly organized what happened here. And they have basically withdrawn and gone into seclusion after announcing they were canceling the event and refunding the tickets that have been purchased for this event. It's a very strange situation, but it certainly has opened a dialogue and discussion. And the community in Peterborough, not just the Jewish community, but the whole town seems to be quite excited about it. It was on the front page of the Peterborough Examiner yesterday. And a lot of people are saying, we want to bring Leah to Peterborough. We want her to speak here. And people have come to me. One guy from a company said, I'll pay her airfare. Has to be business class, right? But and my firm will certainly join in, and others will pay to get Leah there. And she should at least be paid what she was going to be paid for the original event, probably more. And it could be a big event in town. So that's something we'll have to talk about later. But definitely, this has woken up the Peterborough community to this anti-Semitism that was hiding, and it's still hiding. Nobody has spoken out against Leah, to my knowledge. Every criticism, every suggestion that it's improper to have somebody who served in the Israeli Defense Force 30 years ago speaking has gone silent. So whoever put the pressure on the Inspire organizers is gone. I guess they just moved on somewhere else, protesting at highways about again, Jewish people in North York or something like that. But anyway, they have moved on, and they're not participating in this debate. And it's been 100% support in the Peterborough community for Leah, and a strong wish to have her come to Peterborough. And we really want you to come. We'll work that out later.
Thank you.
You know, when you mentioned that that the organizers they found a replacement speaker, and the first replacement speaker said, I'm not going to do it, which I think shows some character there. And then the second person they found as a replacement is ready to go ahead with it, which shows a lack of character. This has to be emphatically denounced, and there's no replacement. You cannot sanction anti-Semitism, period. I mean, it's like, what is this, like pick on Jews month? It's just, are we not citizens here? Are we? It's beyond.
Well, another thing I was just going to add as well is, like, you know, like I was uninvited, but what about all the other Jewish women that wanted to come to the conference? So they can't come then? You know what I mean?
Right.
When they say, oh, it has nothing to do with the IDF or whatever. And, you know, their theme is, you know, diversity, inclusion, and for women to feel like they're having a safe space, right? So what about that? And what about if I was a Palestinian woman? Would I also be dismissed from speaking?
Right, right.
You know? And I've said it in Fox News this morning, as a Jewish woman, I wouldn't feel offended if a Palestinian woman were to speak and talk about her, you know, her life experiences and some of the hardships she's went through, or she had an, you know, an athletic career. I wouldn't protest it. So why are the individual, you know, kind of isolating me from this, right? Again, you know, my presentation is not political. It's not religious.
Right.
It's completely neutral, you know, so questions that I wish Heather would have answered, right? In regards, she didn't, and when I did send my letter to her, I got nothing back in response, by the way.
I mean, they're essentially saying that Jews and Israelis are not invited.
It's exactly what they're saying.
Absolutely. Murray, is there any discussion with any lawyers about taking this through the legal channels?
I am no, there is not. I don't think that's the way to go with this thing.
Okay.
We're dealing with some actually well-intentioned people who have organized this conference. They were put under immense, horrible pressure by the Palestinian lobby and by whoever else got to them, and they bowed to that pressure. And arguably, Leah should be paid something, because her contract was terminated. But that's fairly nominal. But the whole conference is canceled. I don't know if this organization will make a comeback at all, but they're volunteers who want to bring inspiring women such as Leah to Peterborough, and they did want to do that, and they meant well. They just weren't strong enough to fight against the people who were opposing it. And if this had gone public before, the Jewish voices and the other voices speaking out in support of Leah would have spoken up then too, and they'd see that we're a lot more than the people who are against us, and they would have perhaps
right,
and continued
right.
with this.
But Murray, not only, I mean, you're correct about they weren't strong enough to stand up to that, but as Leah is saying, that the organizers contacted her with a number of emails that were anti-Semitic.
Yes, I haven't seen any of those emails, and I haven't heard back from the organizers who've just totally gone silent on this.
Right.
And they obviously fell for the garbage that was being thrown at them. They made a bad decision, and rather than back off of that decision and stand up and say something that they made a mistake, we'll try to correct that mistake, they just said, we're canceling the event, we're refunding ticket money, and they went silent. They took down their website. And these are not sophisticated or well-organized people. These are people who are just trying to do some service in a small community with this event, which is not going to be a big event. There were maybe 100 people would have attended this at the Holiday Inn in Peterborough. But it's turned into a real tempest in a teapot, I guess you could call it. But what it's done is it really has gotten people angry, and it's gotten people going in terms of stopping this kind of discrimination. I heard from a former councillor of the city of Peterborough who is going to look into the city investigating discrimination going on, and it's woken people up to the thought that, hey, there's anti-Semitism going on here. There are problems in our community. We have a good community. The Muslim place of worship was torched by an arsonist one time. And the Jewish community, the shul, and all the people around Peterborough came out to help them rebuild and give them a temporary home in the shul. They were given a home.
Right.
And this is the kind of community we are. We're not a community of, this is not an anti-Semitic community. There's a well-established Jewish community that is very open and very respected in this town.
Right.
And we're going to do something about this. This has got us going again, and it certainly has brought the issues of anti-Semitism, which have been there for thousands of years and have never gone away. They're still with us. I grew up in Toronto, and I faced anti-Semitism, and I'm sure you did too, Mayor. But it's the way of the world, and we have to fight that, and we have to fight back, and not accept this kind of conduct. And we have won this time, I'm happy to say.
Right. Yes.
100%. 100%. Do you know which organization it was, or organizations who were targeting the Inspire event?
No idea. None of it went public.
Okay.
Anonymous assholes.
Yeah, right. But I mean, if there was a name of some individuals, possibly, or of an organization, I'd be able to have a proper background check done on exactly who they are and get that out.
Well, they're hiding. Everybody's hiding who's behind this, and there's going to be an investigation, I believe, done by the city to find out what happened, and we may come up with some interesting information.
Okay, well, that's very important. So when is it possible you're talking about organizing something in Peterborough for Leah to come to speak?
Well, I haven't discussed the schedule with her yet, but we have a lot. Strike while the iron is hot, where people are very interested in this. I think we can get a lot of attention, and we could create a forum where Leah is the speaker, not just the keynote, but the speaker, and a lot of people will come out. The local shul has offered to host this event and to provide funding for it, and there's a couple companies I've heard from that are willing to contribute. My law firm will contribute. We can get this thing going pretty quick. I wouldn't wait till next year. Not for Women's Day, but we'll do it for maybe the summer.
Yeah. Sounds
Hey,
I'm
is
in.
the summer good for
Thank
you?
Sounds absolutely fantastic, and it would be an
Best
honor
time to be in Peterborough. It's cottage country.
Yes, yes.
Get on the lakes here. It's beautiful.
And
yes,
mind you,
it
I
is.
got a lot of messages from people in Petersboro too, and I know that it's not it's a welcoming community. I know it's a small group of people, so it's not like I'm blaming everybody there, right? It's just an unfortunate situation. But in regards, just going back to, you said they were under pressure, like Heather was under pressure from perhaps a small, anti-Israel group or whatever. Mind you, I just want to add this, which I think is important. Like, all the emails coming from her were very one-sided. All the accusations against Israel, but nothing was mentioned about what happened October 6th, or what instigated this, or what happened to the women, to the children, to the hostages. Not one little sentence, not one blurb was mentioned in those emails. So I kind of question how much pressure was she really, involved with the Palestinians without, kind of coming into reason, to fight on my behalf or in my defense, right? So now we're becoming really political. But if we're going to go down that route, so let's go back and see, how this all really freaking started, right? You know what I mean? But it's all Israel, Israel. Nothing is mentioned about the Hamas. But maybe it's protests against, who's starting this. They're a terrorist freaking organization. And people who are protesting, do you even know what you're protesting about? It's like, we're like sheep. We see somebody, we follow. A lot of times we make noise, and you make noise out of your mouth, but you're not saying anything. And I think it's just education of them not knowing, right? They see these images on TV, and that's it. That's what's stuck in their head. And it's done purposely. Unfortunate for us, right? But I'm just saying that the whole fiasco, coming back to when this all started, that's what hurt me even more. It was everything against Israel, not one positive thing about Israel or even about me, not one coming from the organizer. And my question is, why did you hire me in the first place? Like, what was the reason why you hired me in the first place? But since October 6th, then that completely has changed. She didn't hire me because I was a soldier, because I was a cop, because I'm Jewish. She hired me because what my message is when I speak. But all of a sudden that goes down the toilet, when after October 6th.
Right. 100%. Since the story broke, what kind of message? I mean, I'm sure people have been contacting you either by email or maybe calling you. I don't know if they get your number, but have you received? I mean, I'm sure obviously from the Jewish community, you're receiving positive messages, but I'm talking about negative or anti-Semitic messages.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's horrific messages, to tell you the truth. It's to say the least, of some of the messages that, I mean, even my media manager, because we were getting hundreds that I can't handle all of them, right? I mean, she was disturbed by some of the messages. She didn't even want to relay it to me, right? But I mean, it's just utter hatred. That's what it is, right? I mean, if these people would take their hatred and really focus it into something more productive, this world would be a much better place, right? Or just hiding behind your computer and then slamming away at something they don't even understand.
Yeah, 100%. No, there's no question about that. Have the police been in touch with you?
No. I mean, I haven't filed a complaint. I mean, listen, if it escalated to like a death threat or something like that, then that's, but it's just nasty. I mean, I'm not going to say it on air or whatever, some of the stuff that people want to do.
No, I understand, but
it's
but
just,
for the record, I know, but anyways, I mean, because I'm involved with the police on many different levels, and I share information with them, and they build cases. There have been some arrests here in the GTA, the Greater Toronto Area as well, of these pro-Hamas people. But I'm saying that, I mean, like after the show, you don't have to say who, when, what specifics. But I would like if you could share it with me, or I could put some police in touch with you, high-ranking ones that would be interested in seeing some of these emails, and probably cross-reference them with lists of names that they have of people who have been already involved in hate.
Oh, okay. Sure,
Yeah.
I can talk with you about that after the show for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's very important.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have to do that. We have to document everything about these organizations, because anti-Semitism has been going through the roof in Canada, as I'm sure you're aware. I mean, there's a lot going on in British Columbia, you know, where you are.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
100%.
yeah.
Murray, what can you add about, I mean, one, we want to have the event, but you're a lawyer too.
Right. Well, it's very important that we all obey the law here. And Peterborough community, we've been very concerned about the anti-Semitism we've seen around us, but we've been very lucky that we haven't had any anti-Semitic attacks in Peterborough in recent years. There's extra security at the synagogue over the past several months, and we're being really careful there to make sure there's no problems. Recently, somebody who was actually arrested has been distributing anti-Semitic leaflets door to door in certain neighborhoods in Peterborough, like the old-fashioned anti-Jewish stuff that you'd imagine you'd see in the 1920s and 30s. Terrible stuff was distributed in Peterborough, and there was a big uproar over that, and the police investigated it quite seriously and arrested the people. At least one person responsible for it. May have just been one person who didn't know very much, of a young person who was misguided, obviously, not some organized campaign as far as we can tell. But we have to be alert to what's going on around us, and Peterborough does have a small Jewish community, and we do tend to stick together and to keep in touch with each other, and we've been lucky so far. But what we want to do is we want to get this message out to everywhere, that this kind of intolerance and hatred of Jews, which leads to things like firing Leah as a speaker at an event, is something that cannot be tolerated, and that we will fight back against it, and we will demand that whoever it is who's doing this come out in the open. If they're going to affect decision making in policies, they can't be anonymous, and that's what it's been like. I have no idea who these people are. I haven't had any negative feedback for what I've been doing in speaking out. Everything's been very supportive and positive, and I'm hoping we can keep building on this, and with Leah's help coming to Peterborough to speak, I think we will build momentum and greater understanding. And I actually want to involve the people behind Inspire once they're not afraid to come out and talk to us about what happened and how it happened, and see if we can work together towards what should have been a non-political event for International Women's Day. International Women's Day is a very good cause, and my law firm supported it before, and we were a little busy this year. We didn't know Leah was coming to speak. If somebody said, "Oh, we've got a really good speaker, Leah Goldstein, would you like to sponsor our event?" I would have said, "For sure, we will." But we were busy with other things that we were sponsoring in our community, and just didn't make the commitment to it this year. And I guess we're lucky we didn't, given what happened.
Right.
But at the same time, if I as a sponsor had been asked anything about this, I would have spoken out in support of Leah speaking. And I don't believe what the story that sponsors were wanting to pull out because Leah was speaking. I think that's total nonsense. It's a very small, but very well organized lobby that's across Canada, across the world, against Israel and against Jewish people. And that's what we have to fight against in the courts.
With that fight, I posted on just really a few days ago, or maybe 2 days ago. I had a short clip video. I mean, I have a network of people. We monitor many of the pro-Hamas organizations' social media accounts. And in the United States, there was a group of pro-Hamas supporters actually targeting a church. And they're making demands that you better let us give the sermon in your church, and we're demanding this, and we're demanding everything anti-Semitic against Israel. So I posted it, and I received in just over 24 hours, over 250,000 views, and people who are not Jewish, Christians, extremely upset. So there's, what starts with the Jews doesn't end with the Jews. Just like, during the Holocaust, yeah, Hitler was very loud about the Jews, kill the Jews, do everything against the Jews. And they murdered 6 million Jews, but they murdered millions of other people as well. And, there's a lot of people that are on the sidelines. They're thinking, he's making noise about the Jews. Why should I even get involved? Because he means you too. And people are waking up here in North America. They see that's not just the Jews. They mean us as well. And this issue with Leah is, yes, it is a Jewish issue, but it's not only a Jewish issue.
Mhm.
Have they contacted the mosque yet in Peterborough?
So that's the big issue. That's a huge issue, and we do have allies out there who are speaking out. I see it on social media. There's many allies. We have to reach out more to them so they could be a little bit louder.
The mosque in Peterborough. That was the time, but they helped.
Leah, what could you add to this?
I mean, what I really want to add is just I want to thank not only the Jewish community, but there are many, that are non-Jewish that have reached out and say that they're supportive and that this is not the majority of Canadians. And just my, heart is full of all the really positive comments saying that we're behind you 100% of the way and just keep doing what you're doing. So, thank you to everybody from the bottom of my heart for your support.
Absolutely. Okay, well, we've covered the issue. Listen, thank you, Leah, for joining us. Thank you, Murray, for joining us. And we're getting it out there, and we were successful calling them out this time, but this is not the last time.
No.
Absolutely not. This is a fight that's going on, a battle that's going on. But thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight.
Let me
Thank
just
you. Thank you for having me.
We have more people watching right now than ever on a podcast, and we've been doing this for a few years now. Right now, hundreds of people are watching on Twitter, on Facebook, and on YouTube. And our chat has never been this busy. So I'm going to take a couple of minutes. I'm going to put some of the people's chats on. Some are directed directly towards you, Leah. Some are just in general.
Some questions? Perfect.
Right. So, first the compliments, of course, that they support you.
Thank you.
Great work.
Thank you.
Certainly.
You're not alone. There was a question regarding why they hired you in the first place. If the organizers obviously knew your history. So this comes from this person in Massachusetts. Coincidentally, he's my brother, but I won't. But he wants to know why they hired you in the first place. They knew your history. They knew you served in the IDF. They knew you were Jewish. So why did they wait until there was an uproar when they knew from the beginning your history?
Now, that's a good question because, people ask, well, what do I speak about? Well, I speak about sexism. I speak about failures. I speak about, to motivate, life obstacles, bravery, growth, and to support and stand up for each other. That's what my presentation is about. So it applies to everybody. And like I said, I've spoken to many different platforms, sports team, government agencies. I've spoken to RCMP, the military, you name it. I've spoken, right? So God knows why I was replaced. It's just flabbergasting, and just the total silence in response to the organization is, like, what? Why? Like one explanation, nothing, zero, crickets from the beginning. Like this is 4 weeks out already. Like I just want to know the core reason why I was replaced in their eyes. And also the reason why I want them to tell me the reason why they hired me in the first place. There's a lot of different speakers to hire, right? Thousands they can choose. Why did they choose me?
Yeah. And I think the other question that's being asked, and I'll summarize it because it's a dozen people. The question is thanking all three of you, but in general, that if good people don't speak out, then, if everybody remains silent, and as Einstein said, and other people said, that evil prevails when good men do nothing. So we appreciate both Murray and Leah for speaking out, because as Material Prima said, antisemitism is so dangerous. And And this person makes a good point. It's not only for Jews, but seeing this is terrifying for all people of a conscience. I mean, this has nothing to do specifically. This has to do with hatred and evil. Just as the people who were protesting against Israel, they don't realize that the Hamas attack wasn't Arabs versus Jews. It was good versus evil. So anybody who can't come out and say that really, needs a lesson in what's good and what's evil.
Mhm.
Let's see. Obviously,
Take
this
a few more questions. Yeah, go
yeah,
ahead.
there's a lot of questions. Exactly.
Go
There's a
ahead.
double standard here. Israel experienced a genocide in the hands of Hamas. We know that. Let me look through this. The list is it's never been this long before where I have to go through 100 and find those to put on. So anybody who's watching and listening, if I don't put you on the screen, you'll still be in our YouTube chat and our Twitter channel. And in line with what Murray is suggesting, they encourage you in this endeavor and would love to hear you speak. I
Thank
might
you.
even get in a plane and fly. Now, when are you going to be speaking in America and close to Texas? That's my question.
Oh, good question.
Yeah. And
I'll be in
again,
Utah.
as Murray pointed out and Mayor pointed out, we need to expose these anti-Semites. We can't. Now, we know we were successful in that the event was canceled, right? But however, who was promoting the anti-Semitism? And I think that's an important point.
Hmm.
Let's see. Let me see if there are any specifics that are questions. And first, let me get that Israel Now banner out of my face. Okay, there we go. So back to our chat here. I'm going to go to the very beginning. Whoa, the beginning is too far away. Okay. Okay, for you, the question is, it must have been terrifying. You've been through so much with your bicycle accident and you're winning the race and kickboxing and being in the IDF, which we can talk about on our show because we're so proud of you for having served in the IDF. So
Thank
you've been
you.
through so much. And you mentioned in your response that this is somewhat terrifying. So if this is terrifying, after serving in the Israel Defense Force, being in a hospital for 2.5 months after a bicycle crash and winning a 3,000-mile bicycle race, how could you qualify this in your scale of being terrorized?
Look, I don't cower down to bullies. They don't scare me, honestly. You know what I mean? I don't give in to that. I don't accept that. So bring it on. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly.
Excellent.
I'm not going anywhere. You can
And
fire
the
away as much
thing
pushment and hatred towards me as you like.
Excellent.
I'm sticking
Excellent.
around.
It's terrible what has occurred here. I don't know if people realize that this is 80 years ago was a Nazi march at Madison Square Garden where tens of thousands of Americans showed up. And all the other Americans did what we can't do. They stood back and watched and didn't say anything. It's just the Nazis in America. Well, we know better. Unfortunately, we learned the hard way. There's so many questions. You can go look at these afterwards. I'm sure a lot of people would love to have you on the show again, just
Thank
as a
you.
question and answer where people could ask you
Sure. I'd be
questions.
honored.
So-
Thank you.
Pick a couple more questions. It's
Okay.
good.
Let's see. There's more appearing every minute. Well, first of all, there's more compliments than questions.
Yes.
So for you, you're irreplaceable. So
Thank you.
when they got rid of you, they couldn't replace you. They tried one, she didn't do it. They tried again, and I would attribute the cancellation to the anti-Semites. I attribute it to the fact that if Leah's not speaking, why have the conference in the first place?
Thank you.
And while I'm going to
That's a good spin.
on the screen, let's see if we could. We'll put that on that side of the screen, and then I'll get back to the captions. There's some more chats here. And I think this is important that you realize that you're not alone. We're all in this with you, as are now thousands and thousands of Jews and not Jews internationally. So as this person said, great work. She supports you, and your strength inspires us all. Thanks for this. There's Jason. And people who just look forward to hearing you speak soon. Okay.
Thank
So
you.
once again, let me just get rid of it. But everybody who can see your book, go to Amazon. I did. Murray did. Get the book before they're all sold out and she has to go into another printing. Okay. So,
Thank you very much.
again, because of our particular program, would you mind? Oh, there it is. Okay, Murray, There we go. Okay. So,
Awesome.
so tell us if it's okay with Mayor. I know that we've been on for 45 minutes, but your experience in the Israeli Defense Force wasn't just, I'm in the Israeli Defense Force. Apparently, you're one of the first females in the IDF to actually be in a combat unit. So
I was the first female to train the elite unit called the Commando. Correct. Yes.
Okay, and you can, again, you're talking to a Zionist audience now, so tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I was positioned in Base 8, it's Bud Shmona, behind Wingate. So I was put in a special unit because they took like 300 soldiers, and they only, from the 300, they cut us in half. And there was only 2 of us that remained. And I ended up in Wingate as a special, instructor for elite units, not only in Israel, though, from all over the country. And I was also sent on different operations with the military as well, which I'm very proud of. And then after the military, I transitioned and I worked for a spying agency called the Belush.
Very cool.
Very impressive.
Yeah, I'm very proud of.
Extremely
and
impressive.
I was the first woman in this organization as well to be recruited into that department of the police force as well. So
maybe Israel could have a Women's Day event, and you could speak there.
Yeah.
I read a statistic recently that more women fly fighter jets in Israel than drive cars in Saudi Arabia.
It's awesome. Yeah, it's the advancement is incredible. It's incredible what's happening there. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Mary, you want to give some closing comments, and we'll.
Well, just find another question on the. I mean, it's very interesting with these.
Okay, good.
I know it's very busy right now.
Go ahead. This is your moment of fame. If you have questions, go and ask them. Let's see. Well, we know we have to speak out. Most of them are compliments and support. The questions, I think people, I hate to say this because you probably don't like to hear this, but I think you have a woman who served in the IDF, won a 3,000 mile bicycle race after being in a hospital, and as a kickboxer, there may be a little intimidation factor. Okay, I mean, I was born with a chutzpah gene, so I don't get intimidated. But having said that, plus, raising a bunch of daughters, there's a little intimidation from me. And people are they're sorry that the whole thing happened. And the reason that we really feel bad is because if you had the conference, it might upset the jihadists, and we don't want that to happen, And again, as she said before, it just says again, ouch. I guess that's kind of like the drum roll. So, Mary, the rest are just on and on. Congratulations and compliments. So here's a great question. Somebody wants to know how they can help more. Okay, so what can they do? Mayor, Leah, Murray.
Well, we all have to speak our minds and be honest and open and tell people what we believe and not be afraid to support Israel. Don't be afraid to be Jewish. Don't hide it.
Exactly.
And go out there and speak in support of what Israel is doing in trying to survive a horrible attack. It's not Israel that's the aggressor in this situation right now. Israel is trying to survive. Hamas was elected once, and then that was the end of the democracy. They do not represent the people of Gaza, and the people of Gaza have been served horribly by Hamas. And that's the message that I think we need to get out to a lot of people. And at the same time, remembering that our guest here, Leah, was a very inspirational and is a very inspirational person who was invited to come to Peterborough to speak, not because of Israel or the Middle East. That was turned into an issue by the Palestinian lobby. But she was invited because of her incredible sports accomplishment, world kickboxing champion at age 15, and then her bicycle accomplishments and injury and recovering from that injury. That's the main inspirational story that brought her to the International Women's Day event. And that's why she was brought to come and speak to the people in Peterborough. The fact that she's Jewish and the fact that she served in Israel and her family lived in Israel should make us proud and let other people know that, hey, Jews aren't so bad. Jews can be athletes too. There's a misnomer that Jews are just a bunch of intellectuals who are money grubbers. But obviously we are not. We know that. And
I have to make one quick comment.
If a Jew can accomplish something in sports, a woman can do something that no man can do. That is an amazing thing. And that should make us all proud.
Yeah.
Let me make a quick comment. Someone asked how else I can help. I'm not sure how many, because we have a lot of new watchers tonight. How many people are familiar with what Meir's been doing with Israel now? That, in Meir's history, he fought to get Nazis deported from Canada, and he's very active. But our show, we all do this as volunteers. So if anybody wants to help out directly, don't be ashamed to donate to IsraelNow.ca so that we can keep doing these shows, keep having people on. Meir goes to protest when there are Palestinians protesting, Hamas protesting. Meir shows up. So the most important thing to do is show up. So don't be afraid to be with us. Meir, I think that Leah's had enough, Murray's had enough, so I think we'll close it down.
Okay.
I like to end our programs with a little video of the IDF and Hatikva. So this is a closing song. Everybody, thank you for joining us. And do share us on YouTube, on Twitter, on Facebook, and share the video that's going to be on YouTube with your friends. Again, we've had hundreds and hundreds of people watching this evening, and hopefully we'll get thousands to share this. So without any further ado, good night, everybody, and Am Yisrael Chai.
נפש יהודי